All right, let's talk about something every single Salesforce dev and architect runs into. You need to store your app's configuration. So what do you reach for? Custom settings or custom metadata types? You know, it seems like a small choice, but getting this right is absolutely crucial for building apps that are actually scalable and easy to maintain.
Okay, let's really dive in. So picture this. You're building a new feature. You need somewhere to stash a URL, maybe an API key or a list of discount codes. What's your gut reaction? What's your go-to tool in that Salesforce toolkit? Because that decision, well, it has way bigger consequences than you might think.
So let's meet the two main players in this whole configuration showdown. You've got the established veteran on one side, and on the other, the modern challenger that was really built for how we develop today.
First up, custom settings. I mean, this has been the go-to for years, right? It's super reliable for storing datasets, and your code can grab it really fast because it's all cached. It comes in two flavors: list, which is basically just a simple table of data, and hierarchy, which has this really clever trick where it can give you different values depending on the user or their profile.
And in the other corner, you've got custom metadata types. These are the new kids on the block, the modern alternative. Now, they look and feel a lot like a custom object, but they have one fundamental difference that just changes everything. The records you create, they're treated as metadata, just like an Apex class or a custom field.
So what does that actually mean, metadata, not data? Well, here's a super simple way to think about it. Metadata, that's the blueprint for your house. It's the walls, the structure, the layout. Data, that's the furniture you put inside it. And that analogy just nails the difference here. Custom settings are the furniture, but custom metadata types, they're part of the actual blueprint itself.
Okay, so we get the basic difference now. Let's put them side by side and see how that actually plays out across the areas that really matter when you're building stuff on the platform.
So this table gives us a great little overview, and you can see some clear differences, right? How they're stored, one eats up your data limits, the other doesn't. How you get to them, one uses these special Apex methods, the other just uses standard flexible queries. You can even link metadata records together, which is super powerful. But it's that last row, packaging, that really hints at the #1 most important factor for developers, and that's what we're going to focus on next.
And this brings us to the real deciding factor. I'm talking about deployment. How do you actually get your configuration from your dev sandbox to QA and then finally out into production? This is where the two just go in completely different directions. With custom settings, since the records are treated as data, they don't come along for the ride with your normal deployments, and that means you're stuck with this painful manual process. You deploy your code, then you have to go export all the settings to a spreadsheet, and then you have to use something like Data Loader to import them. And the worst part? You have to do this for every single environment. It is slow, and man, is it easy to make a mistake. And this is where custom metadata types deliver the knockout punch. Because the records are metadata, they're just another piece of your app's blueprint. They get bundled up and deployed seamlessly, right alongside your Apex classes, your Lightning components, your fields, everything. No manual steps, no spreadsheets, no headaches. And look, this isn't just about making your life easier. As the source material says, it's a massive win for application lifecycle management, or ALM. It means your deployments are reliable, they're repeatable, they're automated. It's really the difference between a professional, modern dev process and spending your weekend fighting with CSV files.
Okay, so with that critical difference burned into our brains, let's build a really simple, definitive guide. When should you actually pick one over the other for your next project? Honestly, for almost all modern development, custom metadata types are going to be your best bet. If the config is a core part of how your app works, if you want smooth deployments, and who doesn't, or if you're building an AppExchange app, this is the way. Plus, being able to use SOQL and create relationships just gives you so much more power to build complex linked configurations.
But the veteran isn't down for the count just yet. Hierarchy custom settings still have one really unique and powerful trick up their sleeve. If you need settings that are specific to certain users or profiles, like, say, a higher discount percentage for the sales team but not for the support team, hierarchy settings do this for you automatically. You don't have to write a single line of extra code.
So what about that other type, list custom settings? Well, the verdict from Salesforce is pretty clear. They're basically a legacy feature now. For anything new you're building, you should just avoid them and go for the much more modern and capable custom metadata types instead.
So, to put it as simply as possible,
When you start a new project, your default go-to choice should be custom metadata types. They're more flexible, they're way more powerful, and they just fit perfectly with modern development practices. You should only really deviate from that if you have that very specific need for user-based overrides that only hierarchy settings can give you out of the box.
And we'll end on this thought. The way you handle your app's configuration, it's not just some minor technical decision. It's a core piece of your architecture. And choosing the right tool from the very beginning means your app won't just work today, but it'll be scalable, maintainable, and easy to deploy for years and years to come. So ask yourself, is your architecture built to last?